people call Sawyer Smith to the witness stand?
Sawyer Smith, please stand. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you are about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform to the facts and rules of the mock trial competition?
I do.
Please be seated. Please state your full names, spelling the last for the record.
Sawyer Smith, S-M-I-T-H.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
Good afternoon, Mr. Smith.
Good afternoon.
Can you please introduce yourself for the court?
I'm Sawyer Smith, I'm 22, and I'm a social media influencer.
And what social media platforms are you active on?
Well, I have a NowPick account and a Blab account, but the NowPick account's the one that went viral.
And when exactly did your NowPick account go viral?
June 1st. All it took was one selfie.
What aspect changed the most after you reached fame?
Well, I really decided I had to take a good look at my life, which meant reevaluating some of my relationships.
What relationship was affected the most?
Mostly my relationship with Reagan Klein.
How so?
Well, I ended our friendship with her because she really didn't fit my brand.
But did you still speak with the defendant about your social media achievements?
I did. I spoke with all my coworkers about them.
Mr. Smith, are you aware of what catfishing is?
I am. It's when someone lures you into an online relationship using a fake online persona.
And have you ever interacted with a catfish account?
I have. Hayden Carlton.
Did you develop a relationship with Hayden Carlton?
Oh, well, I really thought I did. We talked for weeks.
Did you ever plan on meeting Hayden?
I did. Hayden asked me out on a date, and when I was stood up, I realized that I had been catfished.
And how, if at all, did the account change after this fake date?
Well, it went from just catfishing to the account posting horrible pictures of me with mean captions and just straight up lies.
Did this account have any effect on your brand deals?
Oh, well, I actually did gain followers from it, but it was...
Objection, Your Honor, relevant.
May I be heard?
Yes.
I asked this question to establish that the defendant's plan to trick and humiliate Sawyer with the Hayden Carlton account failed, which escalated the situation.
Would you like to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. It's still irrelevant to the fact at hand, which is if Ms. Klein sent a false report of an emergency.
Overruled.
Did you answer my question, Mr. Smith?
No. I actually gained followers from it, but it was never worth the emotional trauma.
Mr. Smith, would you pull the microphone slightly towards you or scoot forward a bit? Thank you.
Now, Mr. Smith, did the account ever post anything that revealed the person behind it?
It did. The account posted about a story that only Reagan and I knew about. So I...
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation as to the fact that only Reagan and I knew about the account.
Would you like to be heard?
Yes. I believe that my witness can testify to his own thoughts. That is not speculation.
Do you have an offer of proof for the court?
Yes, Your Honor. This shows the witness's subsequent conduct. He believed that it was the defendant. Therefore, he reacted to this, which only started even more...
What's the basis for that belief?
For the belief of the question?
For the belief that it was the defendant?
Oh, well, witness will testify that the defendant posted a story that him and the witness only knew about. Mr. Smith never told this story to anybody. He only told it to the defendant. Therefore, he knows that it's the defendant who is behind the catfish account.
Your Honor, may I be heard?
You may.
It is still speculation. Just because Mr. Smith did not tell anybody else about the incident does not mean that nobody else knew about the incident, either through witnessing or Ms. Klein.
May I be heard?
No, the objection is overruled.
Did you finish answering my question?
The account posted about a story that only Reagan and I knew about, so I figured it had to have been Reagan.
And what did you do next?
Well, at first I really tried to pretend like nothing happened to keep up my image for my brand. But eventually I decided that enough was enough, so I told our boss Sam that Reagan had broken our oven over New Year's.
What did your boss do with this information?
Well, when Reagan came into work the next day, she fired her and threatened her with a $34,000 lawsuit.
And did you witness this event?
I did.
What, if anything, did you do after?
Well, it was a little petty, but I posted a victory picture on my NowPick account.
And was this targeted to the defendant?
It was.
Did the defendant react to this post?
She did. She threatened me.
And what did this comment say?
Well, she said, "You deserve to die. I'm going to get you for this. You just wait. I hate you. When you're dead, no one will even miss you, you monstrous slime of a person. You think you can stick me with a $34,000 lawsuit and just get away with it? Watch your back, Sawyer. I'm coming for you."
More importantly, Mr. Smith, did you feel threatened?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance. May I explain?
Yes.
Count 2, criminal threat, has been dropped through the pretrial motion, and it is not a criminal threat. Therefore, his testimony as to whether he was threatened is not relevant to the case at hand.
May I be heard?
Yes.
This comment was posted the same day the SWAT team showed up at Mr. Smith's house. It is relevant.
So it's not relevant to count 2, which is no longer
Of course.
a part of the
But
complaint.
it's relevant to show that it happened, it's relevant to establish the timeline, Your Honor.
Just the timeline?
Yes.
Do you wish to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. If it is just establishing the timeline, it is more prejudicial than probative, because the prejudicial value that the quote itself contains substantially outweighs the probative value in establishing the timeline.
May I be heard?
Yes.
I don't believe it's prejudicial. It does,
It's not unduly prejudicial.
yes.
Why not?
Because although it does have an effect on the defense's narrative, it does prove that the defendant wrote this threatening comment, that Mr. Smith was threatened, and goes to show how the defendant possibly did send the SWAT team to his house.
So
Although-
you're suggesting it's still relevant to motive, even if
Yes.
the comments do not amount to a criminal threat, as that is defined under the law.
Yes.
The objection is overruled.
Did you finish answering my question?
No, I really thought Reagan was going to hurt me.
And Mr. Smith, what happened that night after the defendant sent the threat?
Well, I was lying in bed watching TV, trying to get my mind off of things when the SWAT team kicked in my door.
What happened next?
Well, I ran to the top of the stairs thinking that someone had broken in, when I guess I was so scared I fell down the stairs.
Did you speak with any of the officers regarding the threat?
I did. I talked with Officer Keegan Lopez about it.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor. May I inquire?
You may.
Good evening, Mr. Smith.
Good evening.
Mr. Smith, you've been friends with Miss Reagan Klein for 8 years, haven't you?
I had, yes.
You have, and then you decided to drop her as a friend, true?
I did.
Now, Mr. Smith, you say that Miss Klein lied about breaking your boss Sam's oven, don't you?
She did.
But didn't you lie to your boss for 8 months as well?
It wasn't my responsibility to tell.
But you didn't tell your boss, did you?
No, I didn't.
So you did lie, correct?
No.
Mr. Smith, you didn't tell your boss?
No, because it wasn't my responsibility to tell her.
So you deceived your boss?
I suppose
Objection,
so.
Your Honor, relevant and argumentative.
Do you wish to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor, this is relevant because it goes to show the witness's character of dishonesty.
Anything further?
I submit, Your Honor.
The objection is overruled.
Mr. Smith, please answer my question. You lied to your boss for 8 months, correct?
I suppose I didn't tell her the truth, no.
Yes, that's right. And then when you decided to tell your boss, you told Mr. Koloshkin that you had just found out that Miss Klein broke your oven, correct?
I did say that, yeah.
But you had actually known for 8 months that it was Miss Klein?
Yes.
So you lied to your boss once again, didn't you?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Smith, you've been wrong about Miss Klein before, haven't you?
No.
Objection, Your Honor, vague and ambiguous.
Sustained.
Mr. Smith, you thought that Miss Klein took the friend dropping well, true?
I thought she took it well.
But you were wrong about that, weren't you?
Yes.
So you have been wrong about Miss Klein before, correct?
I suppose so.
And despite the fact that you've been wrong about Miss Klein before, you're still convinced that she sent the tip?
Absolutely.
But nobody told you Miss Klein sent the tip, did they?
Objection, this question calls for testimony outside of Mr. Smith's witness testimony. Calls for information outside of the witness's testimony.
Do you wish to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Smith claims that Ms. Klein sent the comment, but Mr. Smith was in his apartment and nobody told him that Ms. Klein sent it to him.
Are you objecting on the basis of it being an unfair extrapolation? Is that
Yes,
your
Your
objection? And you are suggesting to the court that it is a fair extrapolation for him to, for you to accuse him of not knowing who sent the text because no one told him. Is that right?
Yes.
The court finds that the extrapolation is fair.
Mr. Smith, on the night of August 14th, you didn't see Ms. Klein send the tip, did you?
No, I didn't.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect?
Yes.
May I proceed? Mr. Smith, why did you choose to wait to inform your boss about the evidence?
Well, like I said, it wasn't my responsibility. I figured if Reagan wanted to come clean about it, then she would.
And despite the fact that no one told you the defendant wrote the false text tip, do you still believe it is true that the defendant wrote it?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. I have no further questions.